Our couch safari of Wilpattu National Park. It's time to enjoy the beauty and wonders of Sri Lankan wildlife, streamed online today, so you may visit Sri Lanka later. Stay home today and travel tomorrow. This project is made possible by GIZ, the German Development Corporation, together with the Department of Wildlife Conservation and Sri Lanka Tourism, bringing you the wonders of Wilpattu National Park with the aim of promoting Sri Lanka's wildlife to the world. I'm your host Monique, and I'm joined by our in-studio wildlife enthusiast and media producer Yassas Ratnayaka, who will share his thoughts during our stream. Good morning, Yassas.
A very good morning to you, Monique. Glad to be joining you and everyone else on this amazing couch safari, which I think is going to be a treat for everybody.
I think so too, and what an amazing way to wake up with nature, right?
Absolutely. Actually, there's no feeling that comes close to waking up early in the morning before the rise of before the rising sun, like waking up with all the birds that are up. You hear this amazing orchestra of forest sounds as you get ready to go inside a park like Wilpattu National Park, which is best experienced early in the morning.
That's right. And although we are not physically there and we are all enjoying this online, we have to thank our entire team for working tirelessly for bringing us this amazing footage and just allowing us to enjoy this right from our couch, right?
Absolutely. Like this footage that you're seeing right now and everything else that you're going to be seeing throughout this couch safari is the result of a lot of teamwork, a lot of coordination, about 5 teams of camera teams that
That's
are
right.
on the ground, and also the drones that are flying here. We've got to give them a big pat on the back, really,
Of
for
course.
bringing us this footage. Just to remind everyone that's watching, actually flying drones above national parks in Sri Lanka is strictly restricted, and we've obtained special permission to bring you this amazing footage.
That's right. And we have our experts at the location at the Wilpattu National Park. We've got Vimukti Veeratunga, wildlife biologist, and Chandika Jayaratna, naturalist and conservationist. And they will be joining us from the park right now. And let's see if they are ready to move.
Yes. And let's see
We were
what they
just
have
on
in
our way
store
to the
for us.
park, and we came across a very interesting sight. It's some birds that are nesting, and we're going to switch over to Mr. Vimukti to explain what these birds are and their nests. And they have a very special, they call something so that it shows their name also relates to the nest building, how they build their nest. Mr. Vimukti, let's talk about these birds and their nests.
Yeah, this is actually the Baya weaver.
Okay.
We have 2 species of weavers in Sri Lanka, striped weaver and the Baya weaver.
Okay.
Baya weaver usually build the nest like a hanging nest. I think in the forest, this is the best architect in the forest. Look at how elaborate these nests are, and usually they nest in colonies.
Okay.
So few, sometimes 20-30 birds just build their nest in one tree. And sometimes they repeatedly build the colonies in the same tree over every year. But they spend a lot of time building this nest, because the building nest is playing a key role to finding a partner for mating. What they do. Basically, they build the nest,
Okay.
and they display. They hang at the sort of edge of the nest and display.
Okay.
So the female will visit the nest and then check the nest. Also look at the male's dancing
moves.
capabilities, and based on all these things, she will select the best male to mate.
Right.
So, and the funny thing is this: if the nest is not good, its female refuses to accept the mate,
Okay.
and he will build another nest.
He'll
again.
build another one, so it's a very hard
So
working
lot of work. And the other special thing about this bird, they always build their colonies near the tall grasses.
Oh, right.
You can see that the tall grasses are there.
Yeah.
and they sort of go and nibble the grass and then sort of fly with it, try to get a long string of grass. So that's the one it is using to build this nest.
Okay.
Amazing story.
Look forward to much more footage from Vimukti and Chandika, and we encourage you to send us your questions on our social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube.
Yes, please do send us your questions, and we'd love to give you some insights, which will help you get a much better appreciation of this amazing national park. So what we're seeing right now is a very iconic part of Wilpattu National Park, bordering its western boundary, which is overlooking the Indian Ocean. And this is Kudiramale Point, which is very interesting and very important geologically as well. We'll get more into details about Kudiramale Point as we get closer with Chandika and Vimukti.
And before we go any further, we would like to thank the chairperson and managing director of Sri Lanka Tourism, GIZ, and the Department of Wildlife Conservation for giving us the opportunity to experience the wonder of Wilpattu. So Yasas, I think they've entered the park and they're ready to share with us what's happening down there.
Yeah, let's hope that we get to see some interesting sightings today.
I hope so too. Maybe some leopard, you think?
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed.
Let's hope.
The Wilpattu forest is the main forest type of Wilpattu is the dry deciduous forest. The majority of that's the wider, larger habitat type. But within that habitat type, there are microhabitats which we have showed some. We'll explain some more. But this forest type is Chandika dominated by Veera, Palu, and Buruta.
Right.
So those are the three main
so all hardwood.
Hardwood, exactly. These are all hardwood because the dry zone forests are all hardwood.
Okay.
The Veera, the one that I showed,
Yeah.
is very important because there are two species of butterflies
Okay.
are feeding on that plant. That means with the onset of rain, there's a new flushes.
Okay.
And the butterflies are laying eggs in millions.
Whoa.
So there's a new cycle. If we see a butterfly mud puddling, we will explain you
definitely
more.
show that. Yeah, that's.
But one of the most dominant trees in Wilpattu is connected to the
butterfly.
very fragile, tiny butterfly that nobody pays
attention
to. Yeah.
And also, I think Veera and Palu are favorites. The seeds the fruit is a favorite of so many animals.
That's right.
I mean, even bears love eating.
So that's another important point. I just wanted to. Good that you brought it up.
Yeah.
And the Palu and Veera, the bears love those two fruits. During the fruiting season in the month of May and June, they always climb Palu or Veera trees and keep eating these berries. They're getting sometimes intoxicated also with the Palu because of the sweetness
and the sugar.
Exactly, with the sugar.
They're on a sugar rush, basically.
Yeah, and so is one of the dominant male's life is also connected to the dominant tree species of Wilpattu. So those are the fascinating stories, the connections that we all have to learn. One thing I wanted to also show there.
Oh,
there's an army of ants. Look at that. The army of ants are moving from one direction to the other. Look at the discipline.
Yeah.
Their movement. They're much more disciplined than we humans.
In our movement sometimes. Okay, the
and they're part of this biodiversity of Wilpattu. They're also playing a role in terms of playing. Invertebrates are ruling the jungles, so they are also part of this habitat, this ecosystem.
Another beautiful sight that we are seeing right now is a whole colony of butterflies, which appearing to display this behavior that's known as mud puddling. And we see these kind of collectives of butterflies in these kind of areas, Monique. And they 90% of these butterflies that you see right now are males. And this mud puddling allows them to extract certain types of minerals, which enhance their immunity and also maybe their sexual performance as well.
Right. That's quite interesting, yes.
And
Early on Sunday morning.
And now what we're seeing is a typical villu, and once again, I would like to stress about that this is one of the unique features of Wilpattu National Park, and I'm sure Chandika and Vimukti will be able to give us more information as they join us from the ground. Beautiful, isn't it?
It is, and the colors, nature is it's just breathtaking.
Mother Nature is the best artist.
And what a sight for a Sunday morning safari.
Absolutely.
Everyone, we've come to this point in the park where we're actually allowed to get down and walk. So this area they call Kudirimale, and it's got quite a few unique things. One thing is, on one side you've got a sea of green, which is the park, and then the other side you've got the
Indian Ocean. Yeah.
You've got the deep blue sea.
Yeah.
And also you've got a cliff just here. We'll show you all that later.
Yeah.
But the strange thing is, you've got to look at the
ground.
You've got to look at the ground. You've got to look at the soil.
This is called copper-colored sand.
It's all red.
Yeah.
And you've got, of course, the minerals in it as well, which is black. So I think Mr. Vimukti is going to talk a bit more on the soil and the minerals in this area in general, because it's not only nature, it's also got to do with history. There's a lot of history around this, and even going beyond pre-history as well. So there's quite a few interesting facts to learn in this area. I think Mr. Vimukti is going to speak to you about it now. Let's hear from him about this area.
Yeah, as Chandika mentioned, this area of Wilpattu National Park is extremely unique because as historic events are involved, and also geologic events are involved. So we talk about that as we go further down to the Kudirimale point. But this place is a very special. That's why we came here to show. There's a sand dune here. This sand is contained totally copper-colored sand. As you can see, if you put your hand down, and then it's all copper colored. Right? This copper colored sand is called lettersols in soil type. And when King Vijaya landed in 543 BC here, this is believed to be the landing area of King Vijaya and its army. It's not army, I think. It's followers. And then as soon as he landed, he just put his hand and looked at the hand and said, it's Tambapani. That means the copper colored sand. We landed in a place where the sand is copper colored. Obviously.
So we will now be crossing over to some footage sent to us from the Kudirimale point. Our microphones are picking up some very strong wind sounds, and so therefore the audio may not be the best, but our production team has worked tirelessly to bring you captions through our live caption encoding software. So it would be best to turn off captions for this segment on Facebook and YouTube, as we will be bringing you some great information from Wilpattu.
This is such an amazing site. Kudirimale Point is a very unique geological feature of Wilpattu National Park. As you can see, these raised cliffs, which rise up to about 70 feet above sea level, are a result of a very unique geological phenomenon that you can see on the north southwest coast of Sri Lanka. These are limestone cliffs, and this is a result of geological activity that occurred between 5 to 22 million years ago in the Miocene epoch in our historical timeline, which is so fascinating for me because it just shows us how old this land is and how tiny and insignificant our presence is on this, and it should all make us appreciate the natural history of the world.
That's right. So once again, just to remind our viewers to turn off captions for this segment on Facebook and YouTube. And let's see what Vimukti and Chandika have to share with us.
So we are here at Kudrumale Point. This is somewhat sort of uplifted rock cliff. So this is about 20 meters above the sea level, and you can see the Indian Ocean and the surrounding. But this area, what we are standing, is extremely special, not only for Wilpattu, but also for the rest of the country. Why I'm saying this? What you see here is the ancient coral reef, which is as old as between 23 to 5 million years old. That is during the Miocene epoch. The entire seabed is somewhat uplifted, so that the coral reef is now exposed to the ground.
Right.
And that is very special, right? How do we know that this is this old?
Yeah.
Because when you go and see some of those coral clumps, we might be able to see some gastropods and other ocean animals that had hard shells,
Hard-shelled animals.
and they are fossilized.
Okay.
And by doing the carbon-14 dating and things like that, new technology, we know exactly the age of these rocks. So the technology has gone to that level. That is how we are telling that this area is this old. So this Miocene rock formation can only be found in two more locations in Sri Lanka. One is Pathirajwala in Bundala area.
Right.
The other one is Minihagal Kanda in Yala Block 2.
Oh.
Now, earlier I showed you some of the trees that have been stunted.
Yeah, so they're even more.
Even more stunted. Some of the palu trees are like,
they're basically on the. It's growing like grass.
And this is Mada. Just imagine. This is a Madan tree. This is a Madan tree.
Okay.
And this is a palu tree.
That's a palu tree.
That's a palu tree. I'm sure if you get a cross section, these things are as old as
But they're basically growing like grass.
Yeah, exactly.
If you look at it, it's also red inside.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Though it looks like black outside.
And
like
of
grey
course, the
outside.
weathering is there. The
Yeah.
rain and
it looks like a lot of birds use this as a perch.
Yeah. This is the best one. Look at that, all this. It's all fossilized snail, which may
These
have
animals would
lived
have been living.
millions of years ago.
Any other fossils found here, Mr. I mean, apart from the gastropods? You know how we see they show those
Bivalves and things like that.
the biggest. I mean,
No, the big ones you don't see here in Sri Lanka. No.
here you go. There's more.
Yeah. This area is actually extending from here to about another 2 kilometers towards the south, towards Kollankanatha. But the reef is somewhat sort of angled like this. So uplifting has occurred in sort of a, towards the Jaffna it is just uplifted like this. Okay. So it is, the reef is like this.
A warm welcome once again to all those just joining us. Better late than never, they say. And this is, of course, the couch safari of the Wilpattu National Park.
And what we're seeing right now is some aerial footage from one of our other camera teams that are out there. And this is Ochappukallu, which is another ancient site within Wilpattu National Park. It's an ancient monastery. Which you can see those stone pillars that are lined up upon on the ground, which are actually excavated pillars from this ancient site. And onto the top left, what you can see there is this this curious little rock formation over here is actually what could have been an ancient cave meditation site for Buddhist monks, and right now what you're seeing is the remains of what could have been an ancient stupa or pagoda that used to be a regular feature of these communities back in the day. What's so interesting about Wilpattu National Park is, besides the biodiversity, there is so much historical significance to the park, and in the heyday of the hydraulic civilization 2,000 years ago, these places used to be populated by communities of people, and what we're seeing is what they left behind.
That's right. And Yasas, I think we have to go in for a short break, and just reminding everyone, if they have any questions for us, do send them in via Facebook and YouTube. We'll be back.
Yeah, this is absolutely fascinating, these dung beetles. They just roll their dung into their den, and so they feed on these things and they lay their eggs inside. So this is a very interesting tiny wildlife, tiny animal that you would sometimes encounter. So
are these two males that's doing this?
Looks like male and female. So look at the way that they carry it. One is going backwards, the other one is going forward. So absolutely super. These are called dung beetles, and there are multiple species here in Sri Lanka, but this is a smaller one. There we have big ones also.
Yeah.
Oh no, look at this. Look at this guy. He's just rolling backwards. Just imagine the energy level that they take. Now he's burying. Now he's underneath the dung roll, and now he's slowly burying it. Look at the strategy.
Oh, he's rolling it around.
Yeah, it's rolling it around. That's amazing.
It's amazing.
Look at the power. Look at the power, and they, how do they breed underneath under the soil? Now he's just slowly building sort of a tunnel around it. You can see how the soil is just circling around.
Soil moving around in the other areas.
Yeah. One dung beetle left its dung roll, and another one just came. Now he's just waiting and to see whether it can steal it. These are absolutely fascinating tiny creatures.
There's a bit of teamwork going on in one, and the other one is
this one is all by himself.
Right too.
It's all by itself.
Is there going to be a
competition
or a steal?
He actually couldn't find the right place yet.
Not
so
yet, yeah.
yeah. Going to find. All right. Take it back again.
Oh.
Oh.
Very important, Monique, to understand every time you're going into a national park, which will, I think, definitely help anyone who's visiting, is to pay attention to all the wildlife. You know, a lot of people travel inside national parks to see the most iconic animals.
That's
like
right.
the
The
elephant,
leopard, the elephant.
the
That's
elephant
right.
or the bear, or even a spotted deer who we are seeing right now, who is sharpening its antlers and rubbing off the velvet that grows it. And once they shed this, their antlers grow they grow much larger,
Right.
and then they go into rut. That's when they strut their stuff in front of the ladies. But as I was saying, it's very important to try and appreciate even the smallest animals that you see, because that's wildlife too, and those little animals as well play such an important and understated role in maintaining this ecosystem.
That's right. And like we saw previously, the dung beetles, right? I mean,
Absolutely, like the tiniest animals. And every time you enter a national park, you don't have to be just on a jeep. You can even be in your hotel or something, and you could appreciate this.
of
And-
course. And thank you to Vimukti and Chandika for that amazing footage. I mean, down on their knees,
Right,
giving us
yep.
that information.
Taking on the ground to a real next level, aren't they?
That's right. Now, this project is commissioned by BMZ, yes, supporting Wilpattu National Park and Influence Zone Management in Sri Lanka, combines the conservation efforts within the park with the sustainable development of its influence zone and aims to improve the park's management capacity with emphasis on the park operations, environmental and visitor use programs in technical and specialist terms in support of the Wilpattu National Park Management Plan. And with that, we see beauty. Speaking
Absolutely beautiful. And I think Vimukti and Chandika will be on the other side pretty soon. But before we do, here's the male peacock.
So you've got Kali, which is one of the larger windows.
So this is one of the picturesque villas, larger. You can see the boat expanse. It's a larger, covering large area. There are much larger villas. We might be able to get some, aerial footages as we go. But as you can see, this one has at the edge of the villu, there's a sand dune habitat also. So this sand dune habitat is very special. And different animals, different plants are living in this sand dune habitat. Even the common tree species that found in the forest are much more stunted here, short, like a bonsai, naturally bonsai trees. Of course, there's a heavy wind throughout the year because of the openness area. So it's a very unique, it's a very different situation here. And even in sandy areas also, there are a lot of sort of animals that are living in, that are adapted to the harsh conditions. So you can see that the forest is there, there's sand dune is around this villu. So it's a different situation. Every villu has a subtle differences.
So once again, that was footage from Vimukti and Chandika, and of course the captions generated by our live caption encoding software.
Big shout out to everyone who's helping us broadcast these images to you, and we hope wherever you are in the world that you're enjoying this footage and look at this group of wild boar playing around next to one of the windus. It's beautiful, and once again we have to remind everyone's tireless work that's bringing this to all of you who's watching this from wherever you are in the world. And we would really want to take this moment to welcome everybody who's tuning in to come and experience this once things return to some semblance of normalcy.
Once it's safe to travel, we encourage you to just buy that ticket and come and just enjoy nature at its best, right?
Absolutely. If you're a wildlife enthusiast, or if you're just a traveler who is interested in exploring the wild places in the world, Wilpattu offers such a beautiful experience for anyone who's visiting Sri Lanka. It's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, national park in Sri Lanka, and it's host to all the megafauna of the country, where you can you'll be able to experience moments such as this. And what you can see is these wild boars. Oh wait, let's take a moment. What going on here? Monique, any idea? You think what we know? What's
Is
going
it a
on?
crocodile I see, or no? I don't
Your
know.
eyes are very sharp. Look at that.
Oh yes.
And what we're seeing right now is a mugger crocodile, which is very typical resident of these wetlands. They can grow up to around 10 feet in length, and of course the remnants of dinosaurs. They're the closest that we can get to experiencing a real life dinosaur.
That's right, in the 21st century. And they happen to be one of my favorite animals. I know it's a very odd thing to say, but
Yeah, and these animals have evolved over millions of years. And isn't it fascinating that you get to see a remnant of our past right in front of you?
that's right. And I think we have Vimukti and Chandika ready with more information, more footage, and well, I don't know if they'll be rolling on the ground when we see them next, but I'm sure it'll be something
Let's
very,
not
very.
count that out.
I was talking about the indirect signs of animals.